go on Rogan, and she's like, if you need to eat food in North Korea, you have to kill your brother and eat his poo-poo that comes out.
If you don't get to your brother in time and his corpse is cold, then you can eat the rats that eat him.
To get giant massive tits in North Korea, you have to fill them with trash.
I swear to God, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, is this it's not AI, but I was just like, is this one of those like robot things that like is like so realistic looking? It's just like, I don't know about that, Joe Rogan. I have never heard of that before.
So
look at my rockin' tits.
I remember when she and her big fat rockin' tits were popular. There was a lot of like, there was a couple libertarian dudes I
300.
saw that were like, she's not telling the truth. And you're like, well, wait, what's the point you're making? Is she fibbing in her stories? Because like, North Korea is still really bad. Like, the general point is still right. It's like it's still very true that North Korea is a completely fake country.
Yeah.
That is just basically the world's biggest prison. So it's like, is your point that you're like, you know, some of the stuff she said about North Korea was actually an 8 when she made it a 10.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, dude. That's that. You know what? Spend your day debunking that.
Yeah.
Have fun, brother.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about big rockin' North Korea. Which I gotta defend her North Korean titties, because if I'm breaking out of that shit, you know, I'm buying a couple fat tits.
Yeah, that's obviously Andy would buy a couple fat tits.
If I was a pretty North Korean.
No. Andy,
I don't have to buy them,
Patrick.
Patrick.
And you heard it himself.
I don't have to buy them. But enough about North Korean titties. It's time to talk about music. Welcome to Drag the Lake.
Time for the arts.
Time for the arts. I'm your host, Andy Malfrino. With me, as always, the late, great Pat, the Grateful Dead George. Haven't done that one in a while. How you doing, buddy?
I'm really good.
What are you doing? You got a little...
I'm pointing to myself, but I'm also looks like I'm dancing.
Yeah, it looks like you.
I look like I could sit on your dash.
It looks like... We should sell those, dude. You get a Pat Dash.
You want a little bobblehead? You want a bubble fist?
You could have other two figures laying down while you beat them off.
My dreams. But this is... No, I'm doing well, Andy. How are you? How did you enjoy your week of researching one of the two bands from Sweden we're going to talk about?
I thought you were going to say one of the two bands we chose to talk about this week. I'll start. That works. I'll start. So we chose to talk about. You're going to talk about Meshuggah, which I didn't do any research, but my only input on that is easily the coolest band name.
Yeah.
It's so sick, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. I'm talking about the band Refused. You may have heard Pat mention them once or twice. And their album, The Shape... the full album title is actually fucking nuts. I didn't mean to... Can you say it off the dome?
It's like... No, it's like something... It's The Shape of Punk to Come, 12 poems... Something at the beat of, like, it's like, I can't remember all of it, obviously.
You were closer than I thought you'd get. The Shape of Punk to Come. A chimerical abomination in 12 bursts.
12 bursts. That's what it was.
Which I like that. Yeah. I like you calling your album 12 bursts.
Yeah. And really, if you listen to it, it kind of is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It, I will say the whole album is very thematically consistent, but each song on it had its own very unique vibe. So where do I start with this? Because I did do the research in production. I did not go deep into the whole production aspect. It didn't seem like there was an over-the-top interesting controversy there in that. I guess the production in general is very interesting because, like, musically, that's a good first place to start. Musically, I guess for me, I never fully comprehended the influence this had over, like, not to sound grandiose, but like a big chunk of popular music.
Yeah.
Huge chunk of popular music. And that's why people, and because of that, I think it's why people like me take this album for granted.
Yeah.
Me listening to this album purely revolves around becoming friends with you. So I had not listened to it before being your friend.
Yeah.
And I probably hadn't listened to it until deep into our friendship. So I grew up knowing about this way after the fact. So I didn't have any conception of all the bands that were influenced by it. So if you don't have the conception of all the bands that were influenced by it, aspects of it when you first listen to it don't actually stand out that much.
Yeah.
It's when you learn the context and you really sit there and pay attention. First couple listens, I was like, shit, I don't want to have to shit on this to Pat. And then I kept going. And then I'm like, wait a minute. And then I kept going. And then I kept going. Dude, I listened to it 3 times today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been listening to it all week. And I listened to it about 3 times today in preparation for the show. And I was like, it's so funny. Like it's why I agree with the like jazz influence, because very similar to jazz is if you listen to a really good, well-written jazz album that isn't just people doing some avant-garde jamming, really listen to it, you're gonna find a new thing every time. And that's what I felt. That's what I felt like this. Like the album evolves every single time you listen to it.
Yeah, there's something about it's funny that you mentioned this jazz thing, because in the band that I'm researching, Meshuggah, the connection I knew about between them and Refused was the fact that they were both from the same exact place in Sweden, Umeå, Sweden.
Oh, really? Like the same city?
The same town. Yeah.
Wow.
So, which is just a little backstory on Refused. The reason this is so interesting, you mentioned the studio time, is because they actually were on tour and decided to break up before recording this album. Like this album came out after they broke up. Because
I know one of the really cool things one of the articles I read pointed out is that they actually so you know this, but if you guys don't know, Refused broke up, like officially broke up the first time months into touring this album in the middle of like a basement show.
Yeah.
They were literally on their 4th song, I think, and the song was called Rather Be Dead.
Yeah,
which the article was like felt rather appropriate.
It's legit. It's covered in the documentary Refused Fucking Dead. And it's also a name of one of their songs, but like the name is, it's like during the making of this album, they were like, we're going to break up. This is done.
Yeah.
So we have to make a great thing. Like, I think there was still a little bit of hope, and I think there's some people that weren't feeling it. It was one of the guitar players, Chris, I believe, that was like not just hated it. Just hated the process in general, but they were so incredible. That song, Rather Be Dead, is from the album before, songs fanning the flames of discontent.
Yeah.
And they were like, they're very incredibly talented, passionate artists, and they put everything they could into that album. And in that process, kind of like it put them to the very extent, and they're playing basement shows in America,
and they're playing like coffee shops.
Yeah, they're playing things. So they actually agreed to break up in the town in Atlanta, and the next show, but they have to continue. They're like, we're gonna just finish this tour out, but we're done, right?
Yeah.
They're like, and so like that member in that documentary explains, like, Chris is like, when he saw the police flashlights, he felt so relieved because he's like, it's over.
Yeah.
He's like, it's finally over. Like, he had not a disdain, but like he just had this, like, he just hated everything that was going on. And the funny thing, connection with Meshuggah that I realized when you mentioned jazz was they note jazz influences a lot in their upbringing and how they started. It's really interesting that there's so many, apparently, at least 2 huge bands from Umeå, Sweden that are also so jazz driven.
The jazz influence makes sense
in Sweden.
What?
In Sweden is just interesting.
Well, so that and that's another reason why I really like international bands. Like I told you I was reading the one book about the guitarist of the Rolling Stones, and they were really into blues, but they're like, no one was playing blues, so they literally just bought blues albums and were like, we're going to figure out how to play this. And there's a lot of, especially like pre-2000, there's a lot of these these international cities and shit where they're not going to really have that type of music there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like the people who play in these bands that are from different countries, they have like an immense knowledge of this stuff, but in like a different version where it's like you've just read and listened to the shit.
Yeah.
So they always had, that's why like listening to Refused, and I even checked out some of their early stuff, but you good? Yeah, I think somebody just knocked on the door. Oh, okay.
Those dickheads will just walk in.
My maintenance guy at the last apartment did that one time.
What?
Just walk in.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy that, like, the other day I was, I think it was yesterday, I was just waking up, and,
You had to thank God.
yeah, I was actually laying in bed thanking God, but I'm, laying around in my underwears.
Underpants.
Not trying to get everybody hard. And then it was like 9-something in the morning, I think. It was like just 9.
Yeah.
And the maintenance guy was knocking. And I know, again, like I said, they'll give you a couple knocks, but if you've scheduled maintenance, they assume that you want them just to come in. And it's like, no, dude. every single time I've ever scheduled maintenance, I always do not give them permission to come in. And I want to also...
I was going to say, if you schedule it, it makes a little more sense, but it's like, brother, still wait till I let you in.
Yeah, like, please, it's crazy. So
but I was talking... so back to... Pat got his package. Back to talking about Refused. What were we talking about? The jazz influence?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was talking about bands... Yeah, bands from other countries consuming, like... Because, Refused is a hardcore band, and they sort of develop more into a more like rock and like punk type band. But they do have an American sound, from what I know about American versus Swedish.
They sing
music.
in English.
I'm well adept to what Swedish music is. We know this about me.
Yeah.
But
huge ABBA guy over here.
Hey. But no, so they're clearly heavily influenced by like American music, but at the same time, when you listen to this album or any other albums that I didn't listen to all of it, but I listened to a little bit of the first 2 albums, and you can hear you're like this, like their first album especially sounds like American hardcore, but not completely.
Yeah.
And this is the same, like Shape of Punk Becomes a similar thing where you're like, this sounds like an American rock album, but not completely. They sort of thematically were very similar to one of my favorite bands, Enter Shikari, where they dip their toe into a lot of genres, but if you really were like, what genre are they? You're like, they're a couple. Because I thought that was like their earlier albums, you could be more specific with the genre, but this album in particular, you're like, the whole time I was listening to it, I was like, it's not punk, it's not rock, it's not indie rock, it's not hardcore, but it's all those at the same time.
Yeah, they were the formation of Refused in general is really interesting because they kind of explained it a little bit in that documentary of saying like they're 4 frontmen of 4 other bands that kind of like started their own band. It's kind of a super group of like, if you're new there, local bands in that area, kind of thing. But like they were all essentially, and it wasn't necessarily even a too many chefs situation. They just all had
frontman syndrome.
They were all peak artists. They were all like fucking. They were all the main contributors in their bands, I think. And like they kind of had this. They had that feel like those guys were very. They all had a vision.
Yeah.
So like they all had it, and it and it linked up for sure. But like they were so it's so funny that the name of the album is The Shape of Punk to Come, because they are legitimately, and when you say stuff like that, just legitimizes things that I've been saying for years, where they are truly, up until that point, like rather songs Fanning the Flames of Discontent and Shape of Punk to Come are two albums that are truly original, and there are not bands like them. There are similar bands, kind of like when I put them into Pandora, I was never satisfied, because it was always like they'd be like, well, the Mars Volta, and it's like, yeah,
you're like,
as far as
you're like, I could see a Mars Volta guy liking Refused, but they do not sound the same, because
like similar taste, yes, but like there's no bands like them.
The closest Mars Volta real quick, good band. A lot of fluff. Go on, Pat.
But I will say the closest I ever got to, and this was somebody I discovered at a Warped Tour one year, and when they popped up, I was like, I can kind of see it. They was The Letters Organize was a band, and they released like one album.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I probably told you about them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they were. I'm not saying this to downgrade. I'm just saying that they weren't a huge as far as like they didn't put out a bunch of bands or albums or anything like that. And even still, I don't think they were super popular. But Refused themselves, this being and it influenced so many bands where you're like, not only were you ahead of your time necessarily, I think it was just the fact that this album and this swing resonated with so many people that they just were like, how can I do something like that?
And also,
you know what I mean? Like,
so going off what you were saying, where it's like why other bands don't sound like them, but you've heard, if you listen to Shape for Punk to Come, you're like, I've heard this thing in songs.
Yeah.
And like that's why listening to it, it's like if a kid listened to a bunch of punk rock music from his time, and then you gave him the Ramones. Yeah. And then the kid would be like, what's so great about this? Yeah. I listened to faster bands. It's like, brother, this was in the 70s. It was crazy they were playing this fast. And it's like a similar thing with Refused, where it's like, yeah, it's because that's what I got from some of the stuff I was reading, where it was like, yeah, some of the shit on the album's not going to blow your mind in modern context, but you need to understand this was 98. Right. And like, that's the other part that really sticks out to me is the timeless nature of this album. Yeah. I kept like, if someone dropped this today, it would fit in very well as just timeless. Some good tunes. Yeah, yeah. It's incredibly, going back to the Ramones. You know, I love the Ramones, but their shit sounds dated sometimes. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the Refused, like, I don't know if you could really, you know, if you just blind listen to this, I don't know how many people would just go, oh yeah, 98. Because it's not like, this doesn't make me think of the 90s.
And even still, like, it is, so this was, like, real time. I started listening to punk rock, and like, I think my first Punkorama was 99. Okay. So, like, and so obviously I would go back to 98. And so, like, this was pretty heavily represented on those. And even after, because I think Epitaph wanted to try to get their money back, or money for probably whatever distribution. Because again, you broke up right after you recorded the fucking album.
They actually, I was reading about that. Because of how they broke up, literally the cops are showing up. They're 4 songs into the set. They cancel the rest of the tour and just break up there and shit like that. Yeah. Because they canceled the tour, right? Yeah, I'm getting that right. Yeah,
that was literally That was like they decided they weren't doing it anymore. They'll just finish this tour. Yeah. The next show, they were like, the cops broke it up, and they're like, "Fuck it,
dude." Yeah. But so apparently before that, I'm doing this off memory, so I might be getting the numbers wrong. But when they were still a band, initially, this was like, critics were very mixed on this album because it was such a different. It was a very noticeable shift in their sound. And fans were very mixed about it too. A lot of fans hated it. A lot of fans loved it. And so the sales weren't crazy. It was like a couple thousand at best. Right. And then after they broke up, the like legend started to build, and it became a story. Yeah. And so they actually started selling a shit ton of records after they broke up.
Yeah. My fandom of these guys started well after they were broken up. So like by a year or two. So I was excited to hear this album, and then immediately bummed out to know that they were not a band anymore.
Yeah.
And like then even like to discover the other things, but also again by that, I think the documentary came out relatively soon after, like not too long, but like there was somebody willing to like explain what was going on, and also there's plenty of like Epitaph was reissuing shit, like stuff like that. So it was nice, but also to hear this and like these songs again mixing so well with other punk bands and stuff like that, like what is it, Liberation Frequency I think is on one.
Yeah, this the doc came out in 06.
Yeah, so like it was relatively soon after that they were like putting out stuff, so like I didn't have to wait too long before I started getting like answers and like feelings. And
yeah, because I think it was saying like,
and they also worked together. They interviewed, like he talked to everybody in the band, like it wasn't like they were not talking to each other. So there was always a little thing of like maybe one day, like there was always a little thing of like they're all alive, they're all and like it's not, they're not, I didn't cheat on this guy, or like this girl, this guy's girlfriend or something like that. I didn't like.
What if they're all polyamorous?
Literally, I mean, they're Swedish. Who knows? The Swedish jazz heads. They could be in anything. But also, like it's whatever it may be. I always thought like maybe they collaborated with this, so like they're artistically working together.
When did they break up? Like 99.
No, it was 97 or 98. I think this came out in 98.
I'm just saying, 9/11's what, 3 years later? What do they know?
Right.
They got out of Dodge pretty quickly.
All right, guys, just come over to America, make a quick pit stop. Police come and you gotta go. Okay, all right.
Let's see. We'll have to check if New York was on that tour.
Yeah, exactly. How many basements did you go in the basement of the World Trade Center?
They're like, tried this 93. You think you're going to run it back?
Rather be what now? Excuse me? What are you singing about? We just turned into the PMRC.
Some of the influences were very funny. Or some of the like musically, you can if you listen to Shape the Punk to Come, you can hear a bunch of stuff they do that got normalized in like modern, like post 2000s rock music and punk music and stuff like that. But some of the more direct ones, I didn't know this. There was an interview with Mike Shinoda, the guitarist rapper of Linkin Park. He claims, or he basically said, he's like, there'd be no Linkin Park without Refused.
That's right.
Yeah. So Refused helped them get one step closer. It starts with... No, wait, that's not the song.
No, I was going to say, maybe they're direct, so Refuse is directly...
responsible for Linkin Park.
For Jordan... What's his name? Jordan Bennington?
Oh, they killed Chester Bennington.
Chester. Who's Jordan Bennington?
A guy you made up. You rule, dude.
I knew that guy.
You rule so much. Oh shit. Oh yeah, there's a crazy list of like Linkin Park, Duff McKagan from Velvet Revolver.
Yeah. Wait, what? Velvet Revolver.
Yeah, and Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, but wait, didn't Refuse? How did Refuse?
He probably listened to him after.
Ew, Refuse. Ew.
Refused affected Velvet Revolver.
Velvet Revolver,
song.
not Guns N' Roses. Velvet Revolver. Ugh. Ugh. Brother, ew.
Brother, ew. There was one specifically. It was. Oh yeah, this one I thought was really funny. So Paramore has a song "Born for This," and they use. I forgot to write down what line it was. They use a line from a Refused song, and they actually, in the background of the song, sample Refused lyrics while she says the same lyrics.
Really?
And they I think they use it, they sort of, whatever the technology is to do the key change, they change the key so they're singing in tune together. You don't like, come on.
I don't know.
You don't like Paramore?
I don't know. That kind of gives me Kardashian and a Slayer shirt vibes. It's like one of those things of like, what happened? What, like, because I can't think of the song that they would do together that would make like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
I mean, and I have like I can't think of like how it would line up, because Paramore having they're very poppy, very like I never got like the pop thing from like early Refused.
Well, but also Paramore was an emo band starting out. I just looked it up. The album was actually on their early album Riot, which I think was their second album. It was the one they got like mainstream success off of. But I mean, both bands at their core still sort of are like, at their core they have sort of like the same song structure and shit like that. Or what's the word I'm looking for? Because I think when you're in those realms of like punk, emo, rock, even hardcore and like metalcore and stuff like that, I think when you strip it down to sort of the main skeleton of a song, there are all. I was explaining this to someone where it was like, if you learn basic rock drumming, there's actually a shit ton of genres you can sort of interweave yourself in, do all the same shit, and it still sounds fairly good.
It's liberation frequency, and the chorus of that is him literally going like, "We want the airwaves back." Yeah. And like but that's another thing with him. He's not exactly
that song, by the way. I was like, I get it. Can you do a thing?
No, no. The thing was, I couldn't imagine a Paramore and Refused thing, but that actually makes sense. That because it's a very clean vocal with her, and it would be because that's what I'm saying is he's not at Tim Armstrong level. Like he's not at like that
bad at singing.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like he's not that bad on the spectrum.
Oh,
but he is not somebody I would think of anybody harmonizing with. And like what they did was pitch his side up big time because she can sing beautifully.
Yeah.
And when I think her harmonizing with the lead singer of Refused, I'm going like, brother, ew. Like that's a you know what I mean.
I come from a different perspective because I actually kind of fuck with Paramore. I think they are pretty. They stayed pretty good for how big they got.
Yeah.
Their last album, they did do kind of that shit where they clearly paid people to write them some songs. They're good songs, but you're obviously like, you bought these off of people. Or whatever the fuck. But broadly speaking, I enjoy Paramore. But I know where you're coming from, where you're almost like, it's like you take two things, like you mix orange juice and ketchup. You're like, I love both, but together, does that...
Yeah, I wasn't trying to say, I wasn't offended.
No.
I was thinking...
Pat, as a huge Haley head, I'll kill you.
I was confused. Paramore, I don't necessarily fucks with, but when you say they have a thing, I'm like, what the fuck song could they have sampled? I was waiting for you to say it, because if you would have said...
by Refused.
If you would have said Liberation... Why can't I say
Liberation
that? Liberation frequency. Then I would say...
The airbags wave now.
It makes sense, but if it's like, again, if it's Rather Be Dead, or if it's like, where these songs are, I'm like, what the fuck are Paramore and Refused? Where are they linking up? That's the song.
The Faking the Moon Landing song.
Yeah, the Apollo program is a hoax.
Shout out to them for that. That's a fun.
By the way, they did that live when I saw them. So the town the place they decided to actually break up and just finish the tour and say this is it was Atlanta. And the first tour that they started their American first town they did their American tour in was Atlanta.
Okay.
And they started their tour, and that's what that poster is. July 15th, 2012.
Oh yeah, you brought that up last week when you were talking about your best friend from
Circle Jerks. Yeah. But it's just really one.
Oh dude, so
I can circle the jerk, and he's right in the front.
The one note. I'm so sorry I talked over that.
It's okay. I did it earlier to you, and you know what? Fair is fair. Hey, we're even.
No, I wanted to... This one note in here was just read the wiki entry about New Noise. Like that, like New Noise has its own 3-paragraph segment on Wikipedia. Because I forgot that
it's had a life.
Dude, there's a million people that fucking love that song that if you go, do you like Refused? They'd go, who?
Yeah, and they go, get us, and they go, oh, yeah, that one.
Did I ever tell you my intro to Refused? When I was in high school, I was doing drumline stuff.
Yeah.
In the summer, I'd do marching band. In the winter, we do indoor drumline. So it was just like the drumline and shit would do their own little thing. And one of our instructors would just record footage all season. You know, in the changing
shower,
room.
yeah.
In the
I was gonna do the same. We got there at the same time.
Don't get to the obvious
Now
joke
we're
before me.
and now we're interrupting each other with the same joke.
Now we're ending each other's.
Joe. Fuck. I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna get the K. We don't split up words, do we? I'm sorry. We're new to it.
I don't want to take. That's your word, buddy.
Joke.
Buddy.
Jokes.
Oh, but yeah. So our one instructor would record video all the time, and then he did this a couple seasons. He would make like a little documentary thing about this. It was actually really fucking sick to be able to like look back at that. And yeah, he made a long intro using new noise.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like, yeah, even as a little, like, even it being in high school here and like, it was so fucking cool. So that was actually my intro to fucking Refuse without even realizing.
Yeah, it's been in Crank. It's been in.
Dude, here, listen to this. New noise has been featured in movies such as Crank, Holla Holla, The Hitman's Bodyguard, Boot Camp, Triangle of Sadness, and Friday Night Lights, in television show programs 24, Rage, The Bear, which, you flipping off The Bear?
Yep.
I love The Bear. You wasted it both times.
You played that intro so much, that super duper recognizable intro, where everybody knew, and it's the same feeling as that DJ. That video of that DJ where he's doing he's about to do the turn down for what, but then just starts playing like ABBA, Dancing Queen or something like that.
Yeah.
And that one guy looks so disappointed. It's hilarious. I get it.
That guy does
But this
suck
isn't hilarious.
ass.
You're building suspense.
Yeah.
Pay it off.
Yeah.
You're just showing me that you're lazy at writing shows.
Now, they're probably going to hit you
Bitch.
with, like, we did it on purpose, but pick a different song. Then.
You didn't do it on purpose. You don't know how to use a song. You're fucking failures.
Okay. Fair enough.
Burn the whole set down.
You know
Fuck
what,
it.
Pat? I got to tell you, I never looked at it that way.
Please look at it that way.
The television shows 24, Rage, The Bear, Criminal Minds, Nitro Circus, The Following, and Wayne. What the fuck is Wayne?
So they're paid, dude, right?
The video
Somebody's paid.
game Tony Hawk's Underground, which is then when I got reintroduced to Refused.
Yeah.
In the trailers for the movies Witchin' and Bitchin' and the video game Doom.
Dude, you cannot say that they have artistic integrity if they're selling that much of that song. But that
I got
also
one
might be
more though.
What?
This one rips the hardest. It was also the entrance music for the Major League pitcher John Axford when he closed games for the Milwaukee Brewers.
That is sick as hell.
Yeah, walkout music. Refused as your walkout music rips.
That's really so. I would say that there is like it's almost like how every band has that thing where because we joked about this a lot on the show where the band's being what's the difference between selling out and like
Buying
and actually becoming popular for who you are and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They're using the song. They're not necessarily, except for the fucking bear, but everybody's using the song. They're playing the song, but it's so funny because the song is so I actually have the lyrics of the song tattooed on my chest. I have we danced all the wrong songs, we enjoy all the wrong moves, and I think it's like it's legitimately about like the lines in these. It's so ironic that list of names that you gave of art, essentially, because the song is like another line from the song is "Good friends can't save bad paintings." You know what I mean? Like they're saying like you can be a really good friend, but like you can't make. By being supportive doesn't necessarily help. Like that line mixed with the feeling that the band has and like this being like they're like fuck it, this is our last hurrah, and they're just saying like thanks for supporting us, but we're fucking done because we didn't get the support where we needed it by like the record companies, by critics, by we are worth. They knew their worth before they were ever recognized for their worth.
Yeah.
So like them doing this and them saying all this other shit artistically of saying like we enjoy everything we like seems to be fucking wrong. So fuck it. What you know what I mean? Like, and that's why like the woo never made sense to me. But it's like this, like the song in the lyric, you know, when he's just like woo.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it literally like seems like it feels artistically and thematically like throwing your papers up in the air and saying like fuck it, whatever. You know, like can't fire me, I quit.
Yeah.
You can't fire me, I quit.
Yeah. One of my last things, and maybe I'll go through all the songs, but it feels weird to rate them because I feel like listening to this a couple times, I opened up a new thing where I go, I got a lot of listens ahead of me. I don't even know if I want to rate the songs.
Protest song is fucking sick. The fucking like all the.
Well, no, dude. Every time I listen to, you know how there's like a natural when you listen to something good, there's a natural moment where you just kind of find yourself looking down to see where you are in the album. And every time I did that, it took me until the Refused Party program till I actually would like look down at my phone, which is like a decent way through the album. But then, then you're going on to Protest Song 68 and Refused Are Fucking Dead, which go pretty hard. And then I think at the very end, it's a solid way to like wind down the album. I forget exactly how Shape of Punk to Come goes, but then when you have after that the Tannhauser and Derive, and then Apollo Program was a hoax. Those are two really good ways to wind down the album.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes out really hard. I think it's ballsy to start your album with a 7-minute song, and then the song after that kind of completely redirects the momentum.
Yeah.
But then you got Deadly Rhythm, Summer Holiday. That one I actually had saved in here from before this week, so I must have really liked that one. Summer Holidays versus Punk Routine.
Rather be forgotten than remembered for giving in.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest, like, again, I'm not a huge lyric guy, but these, like, those, like.
They're good.
When you can go, like, rather be forgotten. Like, when you're fucking dancing to, like, that, and you're just like, yeah, fucking this, everything about this, the messaging, the tone, the music, the recording.
Yeah.
The production of it. There's a couple of, like, I feel like they sneak interstitials in because of like the radio wave sounds and like the little things where it's like them going in and out. It does feel like I do kind of wish I had a couple radio edits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
love a radio edit.
They're not horrendously in the way. Like I was just joking about that. It's one of the most annoying things about New Kid, Mad City with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Like the first time you listen to it, you're like, all right, I'm gonna really dig into this and get the deeper meaning and really learn the story. And then when she gets past that, you're just like, hey man, there doesn't need to be a 2-minute voicemail at the end of every fucking song on this album.
Right. I get the theme. I get the theme. Can we just go?
It gets rough on the re-listen.
Every song is like a phone message, all right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, but last thing on Refused, and then we can switch over to Meshuggah. But the accolades in the like decades afterwards.
Yeah.
So Kerrang in 2003. Out of the 50 most influential albums of all time, they gave it 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. And
Hard,
also,
what?
a little low. A little low.
Hard Rock Magazine, they put out a book of 500 greatest metal and rock albums. They gave it 428.
Just give it 420, guys.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me. Like, don't fuck with me.
Don't fuck me. If you're gonna fuck me, look me in the eyes.
Yeah, which is weird because I want it. It's like I gotta go, baby, getting dye changed position. It's not missionary. That ain't missionary. That's baby getting his dye changed.
If you're gonna fuck me,
if you're gonna fuck me where my legs are like this.
Amazon position me, bitch. The LA Weekly in 2013 said it
what
was.
did they say?
They said in 2013 it was the 12th best punk album of all time.
It's weird. That was a year after they started that tour back, and they were so popular again. That's so weird that they said that in 2013, but not before that. Okay. There's no accolades for it before that. That's weird, you bandwagoner ass bitch.
They're your favorite band. I don't know why you're taking these away from them.
My favorite band. They didn't earn that one. That
Well,
one's just a clout, motherfuckers.
okay,
That's to get him
so
on Coachella.
we've
They're
heard-
Coachella, okay? I almost went to Coachella to see him. I waited. You know, that's how much of a fucking piece of shit I am that I'm like, I don't want to go to fucking LA. So I'm like, I'm going to wait to see.
What year was this?
This is probably 2000 and early 2012 or
I
something
mean,
like that.
you also too like
I took a big risk that they were going to do their own tour, but I was like, they gotta.
Coachella sucks.
I'm not going to Coachella just as because also at the drive-in was playing too, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I would like to see them.
Oh, I really love to hear him yell at me and play a little bit.
What I'm says that I just want to hear. I just want to hear.
You're all sheep.
Yeah, we
That's
love
what they
it.
did at that's that classic video where he's like,
Oh, he like was
There's
making
like a
fun of
classic-
them wanting
if-
to listen to it.
if you go online and look up at the drive-in, there's always like a handful of like live videos that always pop up because they were popular in the time where like cell phone footage sucked ass. So
Yeah.
like the live footage lived forever because it was always high quality.
Yeah.
And they like there's one video of him at some music festival. They were like hated what was going on. Well, they were also too. They were a bunch of moes because they would like stop shows to be like, "Hey, you guys are pushing the girls too much."
Oh, yeah. Come on, guys. Like
Which-
they like it.
Yeah, they exactly. Look at them. Look, you're just like grabbing their. Oh, they like
Look
it.
at
They
her.
like it.
Look what I'm wearing. She got a studded belt on. She wants it.
I will say this was like before mosh pits. It's probably a lot of push pits and shit. But
I gotta say this. Can I say this? Hey,
What?
this is a hot take. Hot take Pat just came in. You see it? You see how quick that switch came?
woo, woo, hot take, hot take. Pat's in the building.
The band can't dictate how the crowd acts. Fuck off. It's a different world, brother. You want to come down here and say that?
I think
That's what I say. You want to start saying how things go down
you want to
here?
get in here.
This isn't a fucking
And then- and
monarchy.
then when they get
hey, you work for us, pal. We paid you to be here.
You don't feel that. You're just mad.
Hey, fuckface. Hey, dickhead. Play the songs. We'll fucking dance how we want. If somebody gets hurt, they have security here.
Hey,
Yeah, you're not fucking security,
hey!
dickhead. Shut
Fake
the fuck up.
ethnicity. Dance.
No. Wait. Oh, at the drive-in.
drive-in?
Okay, I was like, wait, what are you saying? I'm saying.
Pat's just yelling.
I'm just yelling at it. This isn't Home Depot, okay, pal?
You're just yelling at minorities at the show. Can I get a Coke?
There's so many times. It's the same way. You know how we both have that same feeling about like, oh, a kid playing guitar. I'm like, yeah, he fucking practiced. Whatever. Shut up. You know, but like,
Yeah.
it's the same way I feel every once in a while, like with those videos of just like, hey,
Well-
I feel the same way like most comics feel about that Rachel Wolfson video of like this, like where she's just like, stop being mean. It's just
Oh,
like,
you mean not her?
Rachel
Fucking
Wolfson? No, not Rachel Wolfson. I'm
Natalie
so sorry.
Cuomo.
I'm sorry about that. I apologize.
Yeah.
Natalie Cuomo, where she's just like, stop being mean.
She was like, everyone was having a good time till you talked.
And it's just like, whoa, what the fuck? So I feel the same where they're just like, whoa. Hey, look, you're being an asshole. Shut the fuck up. It's like, we have our own government down here.
Yeah.
We have our own world. We're the police. And that's like legitimately, that's why I want to bring the pit police hat to every show. Just so if that ever happens to be like, whoa. All right, everybody move along here. You can
I
move
think,
along. I'm going to tell the band, move along.
I think bands
Wrap
are
it up, homie.
I think bands are well within their right to like if they see some shit, call it out.
Yeah.
It's when because this is what At the Drive-In would always do. This is what I read about, and I can't stop saying.
Pushing the girls.
I can't stop. They have time to check the fucking audience because the guitarist isn't even playing anything.
Right, yeah.
He's just throwing his
Or
guitar.
they're
in
just
the-
going,
well, that's like that was another At the Drive-In thing where it's like there's stage presence, and it's like, yeah, it sounded like. Do you ever like? I've never seen them live, but I've watched plenty of video. I go, it sounds really bad.
Yeah, nerdy, awkward guys that look at the floor. Woo-wee.
No, they're not. They're
I thought they were.
Dude, they started the whole like flail your guitar around everywhere, and then
where
just
it sounds bad. Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah,
just
yeah.
like you're not playing it.
That's our biggest note with Chariot is the fact that I think everybody's favorite character is the old bass player who's climbing all over the place. But guess what's not happening?
But Pat,
Bass playing.
But Pat, bass is super crucial to hardcore music like that.
What do you mean? Is it?
Yeah, it's the most important.
But like, so nobody likes it when he climbs up on the thing, but the whole time he's just going.
But here's
no.
but you think,
At
oh,
least, hey, mute it.
You think he wouldn't have just been on top of that? Because in music like that, it's so important. You can't just get away with that. You can't just get away with that
I mean,
because
he
you're
still
the.
does.
No, I know he does. Because it doesn't matter what he's doing at all. If you're in the chariot and you play bass, you could just swing your guitar the whole time, and everyone's gonna be like, "How's he playing every note?"
He did. Holy shit! They sound like just like on the album.
Oh my god, he's nailing it. But yeah, there was a classic clip of at the drive-in bleeding at the crowd, going like, "Bah, bah, you're all sheep," and I was like, "That's the day I go. I like this band a lot less."
Yeah, brother. Those are the people that paid to see you. Like that's like even I hate a lot of people that like me. I hate so many people that like me.
I'm just doing an unboxing.
Opening really loud bags. What are you doing?
As I'm telling you that I know people hate me.
Like, yeah, and then if someone got mad about that, you're like, "Hey man, it's my podcast. You don't have to listen." Oh, but then the last thing. So, if the LA Weekly wasn't high enough praise, in 2015, the Phoenix New Times, are you listening? Gave them 5th best political punk album.
What year?
2015.
I think they had a new album out that year too.
Whatever.
They put out a new album. Oh, great! They, like I said, they hit their pinnacle. They did it. They could come back and play those songs.
Yeah.
But the fact that they continued was, I appreciate it so much.
Just for like the touring.
I loved it. Yeah, just for the touring. Yeah, put something out and then tour, but play mainly.
Did I tell you I got to go see them?
Yes, you saw them with the Deftones.
The Deftones.
Them opening. So this was my gripe when I saw them the second time. On that side, that poster of the Refused with the Hives. They co-headlined, but the Hives went last because, let's face it, they're technically more famous, literally, I think.
That's what technically means.
Yeah.
Technically, by all measurements.
But every single way, they are a more successful band and more radio play. So they
more
radio play in general.
Physically more fans.
Yeah. Also more money.
Didn't break up.
Guess what? They're playing the same venue as Refused now.
Yeah, because they're probably bringing Refused to the show.
They're co-headlining. It was a co-headlining tour. You could see it on the poster. That it's half and half.
Clearly doing it out of respect.
I guess we can slum it.
No, but they put out
them follow. So like, it's really funny that like Deftones or like it must have been because of them being. They're also Swedish too. So like that's probably the Swedish.
Deftones?
No. The
I
Hives.
was gonna say.
I was pointing when you didn't see. I was pointing at the poster.
Like, Deftones are LA Hispanics.
But they have like so like they're, I think either their peers and or fans that are like, yeah, we need, let's get these motherfuckers paid. Come out on these big shows with us. We'll do, but I'm just so surprised because the Hives, as much as they tried, even with more fans and everything, as far as musically, could not follow Refused.
Yeah, because they're like
Deftones would be another one that I would be like, even like they're gonna get a pop, and everybody's there to see the Deftones for the most part. But still, that's even better when a bunch of people don't know Refused is about to play, and then they go up and play. As long as they're not playing the new stuff, they're
you listening, Refused?
Guys, you will. They're actually on their final tour now, but they're
again.
That's what I wonder what basement this one's gonna.
I'll say it every time.
Yeah.
Stop saying you're gonna break up.
Well, he did have a heart attack. Dennis did have a heart attack, which kept them from their last tour that they had scheduled. So maybe health-wise, he actually will stop touring as much. But I'm sure they'll do shows and performances.
That's my thing, where it's like bands.
Don't say you're broken up. Say you won't be performing live anymore.
Well, it's just a thing of like, hey, I got a heart attack. We're probably not going to be doing long tours anymore.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. It's surprising that a lot of these bands have that because that's probably why he had the heart attacks. He's probably geeked out on fucking shit now and being so old. Having to jump around, do splits, and all this shit.
Yeah, having to scream every time and new noise. Wow. Wow. That's just him going, I'm having a heart attack. Wow. Ouch, 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 ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Oh, my God, he's so good.
The last list, and then we can switch over to Meshuggah.
Oh yeah.
The middle school it's just like a school paper. No, this one actually does rip. Rock Sound, which is actually like a pretty large magazine, I think. They gave him #1 most influential rock album.
Yeah, I would say it is. It's a Mount Rushmore ish, maybe top 5. If you're not doing 4, maybe 5.
It's possibly the #1 album, and I've realized this. I was the person I'm about to mention a week ago.
Yeah.
But I realized this week. It's the #1 most influential album that the bands it influenced, their fans have no idea about it.
Yeah.
That was really complicated, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. It's like the bands it influenced, the people who love those bands are probably not aware of how big of an influence Refused is.
Yeah. I would say, and not only that, but also like their Refused has a real classic punk feel. Like they really did want just to make really good fucking music and shit that ripped that they liked, that they were proud to put out.
Yeah,
and they just got bogged down, I think, by the business aspect of so much. And it's
what I'm kind of jealous
literally
about.
What we were talking about last time on I think No More Heroes.
It's what I'm kind of jealous about with it's not an easier life, but it's a more pure life.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you sold your soul. But I've noticed where there are a lot of bands who you look and you clearly realize you're like, oh, this band's not making you your main amount of income. You might be making good money, but you still have I think that's what's nice with some musicians, where you can have a regular job and then you can be substantially more artistically pure because you have that regular job.
Yeah, and I think he even started right after this, and he's after this he was Mr. fucking Dennis. All the guys all started other bands. But
the International Noise Conspiracy. Which I did not realize one of them was in that.
And it was really awesome because I was I got to hear essentially groovy Refused,
Yeah.
Groovefused.
Groovefused?
Groovefused.
What's up with Meshuggah?
What? It's Meshuggah, actually, you dumb asshole. And it's
What did I say?
The band.
Wait, what's Meshuggah? Is that just a Jewish phrase?
That's the Jewish one. Meshuggah, I think. Actually, I don't know. I think it's Meshuggah is I think calling somebody an asshole or something.
Maybe.
This Meshuggah.
Hey, Pat, talk about the metal music.
I was suggesting we do another band from Sweden that had a release around that same time. Meshuggah, and the album that came out in November of 1998 was Chaosphere.
Ooh.
I will say the most of the comedy from this episode will be me trying to pronounce a lot of these names of the songs, because I think they're making up a lot, including the name. But it's the third studio album by the Swedish Extreme. This also another thing is some of this is from Wikipedia, because there's not a lot of nuts and bolts. There is a Wikipedia for this album, but it's just giving the name.
They made it. It did okay.
Yeah, literally. They're like, they came out from here. It came out this time. It was recorded. It's very autistic. It's like it came out this time. It was recorded here. This is here's the links for those. Here's our references.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
There's some
no singles as far as I know. I didn't really recognize a lot of songs from here, but there's some.
Well, because when did Bleed come out? Because
that's 2008, I think.
Yeah, and this is what 98.
Yeah.
So I don't think Meshuggah popped off. Have I been calling him Meshuggah my whole life?
No, you've been saying it. You just started today, from what I've experienced.
I feel like I've called them Meshuggah often, and no one's called me on it.
Oh.
I'm really going to have to think about this. Sorry. I feel like it wasn't until Bleed and then a little after that they really popped off.
Yeah, it's also interesting. I found the one rabbit hole I could go down was it was released by Nuclear Blast.
Mm-hmm.
Nuclear Blast was formed in 1987 after founder Marcus Stager traveled throughout the United States for 4 weeks and saw a gig of his favorite band, Blast. That's BL apostrophe AST. The label's first release was a vinyl compilation called Senseless Death, featuring U.S. hardcore bands like Attitude, Sacred Denial, Impulse Manslaughter, and others. But the thing that was really cool, I felt like, was during the 2000s, 2010s, Nuclear Blast signed many veteran thrash metal bands, including Slayer, Exodus, Testament, Anthrax, Creator, Overkill, Sepultura, Destruction, Tankard, Death Angel, and Heathen. Like, that's pretty sick that they have that kind of... They've not only been around since 1987, but they ended up... Like, they're kind of a home in the mid 2000s of offering a place for like Slayer, all these like legacy metal bands.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool that they like signed. Let's see, the Swedish band Meshuggah became the first band in history of Nuclear Blast Records to crack the Billboard 200, landing at 165 with their 2002 album Nothing. Meshuggah became the first Nuclear Blast band reviewed by Rolling Stone. And yeah, so that's pretty interesting that like there's somebody that gave them a home kind of early on, but like later on kind of found other success. That's pretty cool that they put that out. But 8 songs, 47 minutes in the original release. Again, released on November 9th, 1998. It's couldn't find anything. Like they have a ton of like Hellraiser imagery for their artwork. Like all of it is just this weird shit. Like there's no. I don't think there's. As far as a band, from what I've gathered from Meshuggah, is not like that. I'm not saying that they're not substantial or they don't have substance like refused or something.
Yeah.
But for me, it just seems like they're telling a really weird story. But it's again like a weird like sex novel that my wife would want to read about, you know, like a torture porn thing.
Well, it's like I think they do.
This feels very torture porn.
I don't.
Maybe this is a Rorschach. Yeah, I'm like, look at that. Look how
how fucking horny and angry does this make you? Am I right?
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here like, I mean, that looks like a brain in a cage.
I'm just like, yeah, exactly. It's like a fucking dick.
But yeah, you're right. I'm horny too, Pat.
Right.
This makes me very horny as well. I'm scared.
You're
I'm
just
just
like-
saying yes.
You're just like
Calling 911.
calling a hotline.
He started playing Meshuggah, and he said, figure out the time signature while I jerk off.
It changed him.
And it was hard because they kept changing it every verse. You'd think it was one, then it would get to the second verse, it would be slightly different.
Sir, is this a prank call? Surprisingly, no.
Oh, come here. I don't know what 15-3 time is. Get here quick.
Also, another fun note before I get into my my track listing is the note-taking time on this album is top-notch. The songs were the perfect amount of time for me to... and also the tempo, I feel like matches the autocorrects my phone has to do when I'm typing. It's just like, okay, okay. Did you mean...
This I didn't listen to all of it, but I listened to a little bit of this album today.
Of Chaosphere?
Chaosphere?
Chaosphere!
This really sounds like a
If you say it 4 times in the mirror, he comes and he will take your dick off with spikes.
It sounds like
Chaosphere!
it sounds like a weapon the Nazis used to attack the biggest Jews.
Yeah, a Chaosphere feels like...
He's not going down. Get him with the Chaosphere.
You know, yeah. Every once in a while, when World War II facts come out and they sound like comic book fucking villains, you know what I mean? Like, just,
We must build a Chaosphere.
When Eli
that will
Roth
crush
from
all the Jews.
when Eli Roth from Inglourious Bastards walks out, they're like, "Oh no, go back get the Chaosphere. He's so big.
We must summon the Chaosphere.
Oh, we have to sacrifice Hans."
I know, by the way, if Meshuggah, if you're watching, we know, first of all, your name's not Meshuggah. No, we know that. We
Yes.
both knew that before.
Yes, we know you're not German.
We also know you're not German.
We're being insensitive.
Your imagery looks like
We're-
sexual porno from Germany.
We're
okay?
being bigoted because you guys are white, and it's easier to do that to you guys.
You have a very sexual and violent German feel.
It makes us
okay?
uncomfortable.
So, track 1.
Oh wait, before you get into that,
Don't you dare stop me again. No, I'm sorry.
stop me. You didn't let me finish. Did you just giggle?
Did you just interrupt my interruption?
Your voice just got really high.
oh, I'm like this.
I haven't heard you like genuinely giggle ever.
You've always heard it. Shut up. You hear it in your heart every day, bitch.
No, usually you just go, yeah, pound it, Andy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's talk about our feelings,
Let's
motherfucker.
go.
All right, what are we saying?
No, I was gonna say this reminded me of like when I would play music, like if I was doing drumline or indoor drumline, and we were playing something where occasionally, you know, there'd be a lot of like time signature changes and shit, and a lot of times when you're doing it, you rather than just flat out going like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 like doing that, you just like feel the rhythm.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing, listening to, rather than like over focusing on what's the time signature.
Yeah.
You know, just because like people do that to get a gold star in their head. I was more just trying to figure out the rhythms, and it was just giving me way back vibes to playing music back in the day of oh yeah, sometimes, because no, like I remember being taught that where it's easy rather than to just flat out count stuff like 1 2 3 4 and 1 da 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 da. You just remember the rhythm, and and you're just like, you don't even have to count it. You're just like, do that.
Yeah.
And then you do that. But anyway.
No, so this is it's again like eight songs, very digestible, 47 minutes, not like crazy, not like a Between the Buried and Me 8 songs. It's like it's a full 8 songs. But this first one, oh god, this is where I realized it spent me most of this song trying to spell this without having to continue to. I just had to keep going back to the picture of the track listing, but it's a concatenation. Concatenation. It reminds me of the last Pokemon evolution of Static X. In the best of ways. I mean that with a compliment.
Funny.
It's like, so they have a very starty stoppy, you know, like chat 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 chat, like that kind of like that feel, like a static
staccato.
Yeah, like that. And
when the notes and stuff are very quick and not drawn out, staccatos like
and most likely Static X got somewhat of their that from either Meshuggah, you know.
When did Static X come out?
I don't know actually, but if they had been able to continue, apparently there's the lead singer. I did not realize had died.
Yeah, it was a big dirt bike jump.
But that's such a Static X way to die.
Making that up, that didn't happen.
Oh god damn! I was gonna say, oh my god, that was perfect. Because by the way, when you said that, I was like, damn, I believe that 100% immediately. I know I'm a mark, but that was actually really. If you said like, oh, he drowned in Monster Energy, I'd be like, oh my god.
Oh, he's being silly.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, no, they came out in '98, so they were definitely probably listened to a little bit Meshuggah.
Right, like so. There's at least a little bit of this. It's a really cool, but the vocals as well. Like his vocals in this really transform. And it's different from like, you know how people go like, oh, do you growl or do you scream or do you like it's like different, almost like notes of screaming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've noticed that with a lot of
he has a very good control of his like
yeah, because when you're listening to hardcore or something like that and they scream or yell, their voice usually is whatever comes out.
It's scream.
Yeah, it's usually whatever comes out. But once you get more into, what genre would you say Meshuggah is? Like
drug chug.
Progressive drug chug?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was my. I didn't finish that thought either. I apologize. But there was a thing. Every categorization I see for Meshuggah is wrong. That's why I felt like. Drug chug.
You were gonna get at that. That was like super. Because that's one thing that drives me up a fucking wall. Is people get.
Sorry.
Like I'm trying to think of one, but like people get obsessive over, because they'll do a thing where they'll be like. They'll hear a little flavor of this or that during a band's album. They'll be like, they're also partially industrial fucking Japanese electrocore. And you're like, no, you're
just making up words.
They did that thing the one time.
Yeah. So this is in the this is all, and it's mainly Wikipedia. So like it's not, but in general, this is the issue.
Any dickhead can edit that shit. Go on, Pat.
In general, the problem with categorization, I feel like. But like this says it's like the Swedish extreme metal band Meshuggah. It's like, what the fuck is extreme metal? what the fuck is that?
I've heard that before.
That's a metal band. Extreme is a metal band.
But even that, to me, if you say extreme,
Right.
and I don't listen to I probably don't listen to what people consider extreme metal a lot. But Meshuggah does not constitute, in my mind, extreme metal. Because extreme metal always just feels like standard metal where they're like trying too hard.
Groove-oriented sound. I'm like, I don't know about that. So, but these are the genres for the album Wikipedia page for Chaosphere.
Yeah.
Chaosphere is progressive metal. I guess so. Prog rock is. We've talked about that a million times. Anything can be prog rock.
I'd call it prog metal.
Prog metal. Yeah, prog metal makes
prog
sense.
Prog rock makes me think of like Yes.
Yeah, but prog metal. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
That's okay, I guess. But groove metal and avant-garde metal, like,
Oh, kill yourself.
shut the fuck up.
Groove metal's one of those when I hear people say that I go, yeah, but just shut up.
Yeah, like I can groove to it, but that's not the cat. They didn't have me or the band or
You know what
the
the
audience
problem-
in mind. Like they can really groove to this. Like shut the fuck up.
You know what
Like,
the problem is?
You say groove, and you're gonna
They're
get a
not
shut.
wrong.
You're gonna get the shut the fuck out. Even if I agree with you, you're gonna get a shut the
Well,
fuck
that's the
up
thing.
out of me.
No, it's we're talking about context on No More Heroes. It's why they're saying groove metal.
Right.
With your fucking Disney adult Reddit brain.
You're cuting me. You're like, oh, you're groove metal.
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, because you know where groove metal
I'm
comes
grooving.
from? Usually music fans, and I've experienced this, growing up as a sad little emo boy. Music fans are desperate for validation.
Yeah.
So groove metal is to try to get their fucking uncle who thinks they're gay to like the stuff they like.
Right.
It's why everyone fucking nutted their goddamn pants when Knock Loose gets on Jimmy Kimmel like it's validating. I go, no, Kimmel needs Knock Loose. Fuck off.
Exactly.
It's all this
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
It drives me up a goddamn wall. It's like, because you're all, it's like people get so obsessed with, here's all I care about. I want bands to write good music, and I'd love a world where if you tour for a good chunk of the year and you've got a couple 100,000 people watching, like listening to your Spotify, there's systems set up where you can make a living off of that.
Yeah.
That's all I care.
Yeah.
If the Grammys nominate someone, I could give a fuck.
Yeah, that's not validating anymore. But track number 2 in this one is New Millennium Cyanide Christ.
Well, we're gonna have to find that guy and deal with him.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Oh wait! I thought that was a genre. That is the song title. I was like, I am going to have to commit murder.
Surprisingly chill from Meshuggah.
Yeah.
I put down they Goldilocks the hell out of this one. They don't do they do just enough. Sometimes
Dude.
it doesn't confuse my brain as much. Also vocally, Rob Zombie if he ruled. If Rob Zombie was good the whole time, that would be him on this song.
I don't know enough to get that, but I like it. I've only ever listened to the one with.
And also, update track 2, not groovy, just good. Shut up.
What's the Rob Zombie song where it's like. Dragula?
Yes.
That album's cool because it's like a heavy metal disco album.
Yeah, if he was always that, that's him.
Is this the Meshuggah song on here that has like the kind of breakdown? There's one of these songs in the beginning that has like a breakdown with like the like dissonant chords you hear on like, and I was like, dude, this sounds like old fucking Norma Jean. It was crazy.
Get this. That's the next song you're talking about. That's called Oh, this is gonna be. You're gonna enjoy this one. Corridor of Chameleons.
I don't like that name.
First time I read this title, I thought it said camel toes. That was dyslexia working at.
I get that.
Back on the bullshit with the timing. The vocals are similar to James from Metallica.
Yeah.
3 songs in, I'm thinking these guys are the Chameleons. Don't look for a weapon. Do not look for a weapon. Stop it.
It's like, we're in Texas. Why don't I have a gun?
You know what? I just finally got gun rights just now.
They're actually for bad music opinions, not self-defense.
But this is this is the guitar song you're talking about. I think I put down love the guitar elements, long, pretty reverb notes, sick hammer-ons, chuggy panic chords, and so much more. Like I think that's the dissonant, like the like that. It's like if there would have, I didn't see anything about there being singles on the their page or the Chaosphere page.
Chaosphere.
But I think this would be a single. Personally, I would say that. What was the name again? Hold on. Corridor of Chameleons.
Corridor of Chameleons.
I sound like James Hetfield now.
Sick 'em. That's
All
what
right.
that's where they send the Jews.
Okay, so
Send them to the Corridor of Chameleons.
I'll let you look at this name. Do you want me to try to say it first, or do you want to?
It's not hard. That one's not hard at all, Pat.
Neurotica.
Are you
Neurotica. Neurotica.
You should try to read more.
Neurotica.
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 I want to say neuro.
You're adding like 3 U's to it.
It's N-E-U. Neurotica.
Yeah, neurotica.
But there's an E.
That's how you spell neurotic.
That's ironic.
you wait. Yeah, dude, neurotic spelled N-E.
Neurotic, yeah. Oh, that's why I put this note.
It's not neurotic.
This is actually the title for the theme song from Curb. Neurotica. Is
this how you research these?
Yeah.
Just throwing your quips in there?
No, I'm writing down my feelings and I'm writing down how I feel. I got more facts.
It's a word. Neurotic. That's how you
what did
spell
they change
neurotic.
So they just added an A.
Well, neurotica is the thing, I think. I think it's like making it sound fun.
See, I don't know what words they're making. Andy, I promise you, I don't know words. I don't know what that was a Freudian slip. I don't know words. I don't know what words they are making up and what it like. Is there such? I'm not saying this for the joke. Is there such thing as chaos spheres?
Well, there's chaos and spheres,
right? But that's not hyphenated.
It's not an
Does that word
actual
exist?
weapon used by the Nazis.
This is a crazy question to ask you, and I promise you, this is coming from the dumbest part of my brain. Is chaos sphere a word that exists?
What do you mean?
Right. Exactly. I promise you this is not the weed. I promise you. Is it like a real? It's not a real thing. But does the word exist?
What do you mean does the word exist?
Like, is that in the dictionary?
Is chaos a word?
Is chaos sphere a word?
They're two separate words.
They made this, so they invented this word.
I mean, I guess technically.
Or is this a name?
What is a chaos
Because
sphere?
names aren't words, apparently. I hate things.
What is a chaos sphere?
Right. Is a chaos sphere? Can we, like, if we look it up, is it only this album? Or is it, oh,
It's the first thing that pops up.
okay.
I think they own chaos sphere.
So they invented. So that's what I'm saying. Neurotica. I'm like, okay, neurotica.
Oh, here we go. There's a wiki on it. Chaosphere, etymology, blend of chaos and sphere. Noun.
This is why I hate dictionaries. Dictionaries were the first, like, there, you.
Here, wait. Noun, chaosphere. 1. A symbol associated with chaos in certain modern forms of occultism, consisting of a sphere with 8 arrows pointing outward from its centra.
It's a thing.
So it's a play off of that.
It's a thing.
I was getting lost. I was like, chaos and sphere are words.
Right. Yes. Those are each words, and those are both things.
All right, that wasn't as dumb as I thought.
Thank you. Okay, but it is dumb. I'm dumb. Like, I didn't know how to say it. That's what I feel makes me for the most dumb.
My only
I'm
point,
asking you. It's the same way how Lemare will go, oh, what a... Never mind. Like, I don't say never mind. I just go, oh, no, this is really dumb. I'm really sorry. Here it comes.
My only point earlier is you were like neurotica, and
I
I was
overthink it. Yeah.
But I was like, why are you doing that? That's an established word.
But Chaosphere is not an established, but it's neurotic. Yeah, you're right.
Chaos is just Chaosphere is just not a popular.
Never thought of it. Right.
Okay.
Sorry, I apologize.
Anyway,
these guys are true champs of the Chuggy Wuggies.
this back and forth made me remind me next week on No More Heroes, Middle East conflict. We're gonna figure it out.
What is the East,
dude?
Really?
Actually,
when does the East stop?
No,
you know what I mean, man? Because if you just go east and like, then we're east, man. After a while,
he's like, brother, you're in the middle of that. But if you just keep going, where even is the middle?
and if you turn around, then that's west.
Also, why in the middle? Why there's so many hyphens?
Hyphens
Making
make
you-
more sense because then I know you're just taking two things. and
Actually,
going,
Pat,
you're
that-
inventing a word.
You know what? I might do that for No More Heroes. I may go find prominent members of like the Middle East conflict and just make you say their names.
I guarantee you it'll be fun. Guys, tune in, subscribe. I swear to God, it'll be hilarious. Because if I'm reading it, even if it's a word I know, oh, brother, oh my God, the word Orion. Orion. Orion, 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 Orion. I know that. Orion's belt. You go, like, I've said it a million times. I know the word.
What's
but
the thing about
when I
it?
read it, I say, I have always in my head, because how I read it, I was like, Orion.
Yeah.
And I go, Orion.
I did that with.
So now if I read, so like the production company, Orion.
Yeah.
When it goes, I go, Orion.
Dude, I had that with Yosemite. Like my seeing it was very when I saw it the first time, there was no one around me to like say what it was.
Yeah.
So my natural reflex was go Yosemite in my head.
Right.
And then like eventually,
Yosemite.
dude, you want to hear something embarrassing? It was, I remember.
You said it in front of people?
Well, no. It was the one. So, like, when you have a MacBook, whenever they have a new operating system that has a dumb name.
Yeah, there
And
is.
when I was in college, their operating system was Yosemite.
Yep.
And I remember having it, and it would always, like, pop up as your computer was uploading or something, and I would just see it, and my brain would say Yosemite.
Yeah.
And then I remember talking to someone, and they were like, wait, you're still on Yosemite operating system? And I just go, the what?
Exactly. And then you're like, wait, what are you talking about?
And I'm like, oh, yes, I knew that's what it was called.
It's crazy. I like Orion is still like one of those things where like because that's how I learned it when I read it, even though I already knew the word, I would say.
Can I ask you this?
What?
Do you ever say words a specific type of way so you spell it properly?
Yes.
What's yours?
Well, now it's gonna be.
I'll tell you
Now
mine.
it's gonna be neurotic. Because I go neurotic. and
Neurotic.
Neurotic. And
Mine
I say
is every
beautiful.
every single time business. As I'm writing, I go
business.
busyness. To remember the I.
Yeah. Yeah. So it helps. I also say knife. But so this is you're making fun of my notes, you piece of fucking shit. These just going to be quips. Here's a little insight, fuckhead. Most bands seem to break down parts by verse, chorus, bridge, etc., stuff like that.
Feels like a quip.
These guys seem to break down like a very interesting documentary, and I mean that they have like an introduction, then like an investigation, or like they get more in depth, and then like they literally have like conclusions to almost all their songs. Like they have an ending where either it builds like they can write each song with that exact same structure, like most bands would write with the same structure of verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, whatever. They would have it this way and still have each song be so unique in how they do it. Like they have a very unique style for sure, with their polyrhythmic extreme metal. But I
While
think
they're grooving.
But they have this thing where like they can have that same structure, but like you can watch. I could watch any documentary and enjoy something about it.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Oh.
The first, without the second half, it was just making me laugh. You're like, I could sit down and watch any documentary.
No, literally. It would, but be interested in it.
I was just making silly
sorry.
jokes. In my head. I wasn't shitting on you.
but like saying even like a 30 for 30 about like tennis, where I'm like, I don't give a fuck about tennis, but I'm this is good as fuck.
I love when they surprise you with one, because
And-
I didn't give a fuck about golf for the longest. There was some 30 for 30 where they were like, this golf match was the last time he could possibly fucking play golf or something, and you're like, I'll kill myself if he doesn't do it. He's got to do it.
But this is the structure for like every single documentary, but every documentary is so unique because it's so
specific to their thing.
So like that's what I have next is like they have those things. They expand on the stories. Even other bands cover like this. It's so unique that no matter how many similar familiar elements that they do use, like the thing where you're like, is this Norma Jean? Does he sound like James Hetfield? They still make it their exact own. So like it's not just about what timing is this. That's just one story being told
and that's the big
in their whole.
That
thing.
reminds me of the big
Their
reason.
world. Their world building.
That reminds me of a big reason why I don't really get into Tool. Is Tool feels like if like say you had a friend who was a collector and he just had a bunch of like, here's a cool car, and it's like, what's the story behind it? You're like,
Exactly.
it's really big and expensive,
Right.
And then Meshuggah feels like almost like, yo, I've got Hitler's pencil.
Dude, they're taking you into the Chaosphere and they're giving you a tour and showing you like, yeah. So and most people like the crown molding here, right? Most people don't even realize that like each
Most
one of
people
these
didn't realize
things, those are
Chaosphere was a
handmade.
thing.
Each one of those things are handmade. Okay. And if you want to go to our spike pit, we'll show you. They're stainless steel, so that way they're easier to clean. So next song here, again, it's called "The Mouth Licking What You've Bled," and
So it's about going down that time of month.
my note, gross. Didn't know these guys got their Red Wings.
Oh yeah,
That's
you're like, oh, you think everything is the fucking Quip? Goes right back to Quips.
And the next song, number 6, is "Thank God," entitled "Sane." SANE. I don't know what that feels like, but I know how to spell it, baby. But I don't know if
There really wasn't that much about the band online, was there?
no, not this early. I don't know if you know this, but Meshuggah is a pretty good drummer.
Yeah,
You know that?
dude. You know what was funny? I was always go down whenever I see people. When I was listening to Meshuggah today, I was also, every time I listen, which I don't listen a lot, but you always got to play Bleed at least once or twice.
Yeah.
But I was actually listening to it because I was going on a walk this morning, and I didn't have like anything distracting me, and I was really intently listening. I go, this actually conceptually isn't that complicated,
Right.
But like when you speed it up, it's really fucking
And the fact
hard.
that it's going, and then the fact that like I've told you about this in the past, like Meshuggah, especially that era of Meshuggah, like about mid 2000s or so. There, or 2008, I think is when that came out. That when I was wearing my Apple Watch, listening to Meshuggah driving, it changes my heart, like it gives me heart warnings. It's
That's
like
so funny.
It's like it gives me an elevated heart rate, and it is specifically that. It's not traffic. It's not listening to anything else. Nothing else is doing that. It's every single time I listen to Meshuggah, I can actually feel. It feels like my heart is fluttering.
Yeah.
It gives me. I'll get into this actually a little bit later on in the album. A couple tracks. I have a suspicion about them, but they definitely give me a physical reaction for sure. But
Oh, really?
going into this is actually more elements of Static X as well. I realize in this band, like again, seriously, like, and I mean that I love Static X. I don't want that to say like to take away if somebody thinks you're better than fucking Meshuggah
No,
or
they're
Static
quick-
X, but
They're a go-to.
it's a great reference. I think that is kind of that they have very unique starty stoppy chuggy wuggies.
Static X is a go-to, easy to make fun of band for people who aren't into that shit. And I'm not extensive in Static X, but I've listened to enough. They don't deserve as much teasing as they get.
So this is also, this kind of goes along with the same thing, the thought I was sharing earlier about the structuring it more like a documentary, like they're telling a story. The song gets so much better as it goes. Actually, it's such a well structured song to keep the audience engaged, and it's for a song called Insane. For a song called Sane, it's crazy how much I love it.
Is this gonna happen every episode?
You love this. The drummer for did you know the drummer for Meshuggah actually writes the majority of Meshuggah's lyrics and also contributes to spoken vocals on several songs?
Wonder what that's like as a, because their lyricist or their singer only sings, right?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah. He doesn't
Wonder
do
what that's
instruments.
like.
Yeah, it is really interesting because it is a lot of Meshuggah has a lot of very long musical. you would say breaks, but just musical parts with no vocals.
Yeah.
So if there's only this instrumental chunks, and then every once in a while he just goes, whoa,
Because
it's interesting again. But when he does come in, like I was saying already in this early, and he only gets more dynamic later on.
Yeah.
So if he's already got the skill so early on, they're taking a genre that's so played out like extreme metal. Like we've heard extreme metal for years and years and years.
Metal.
And groove metal. And they're taking it and they're making these elements that you've heard in metal for years, and even like interesting time signatures, and blending them even more so and adding so much more depth to each position. So
Also,
it is weird for him to just kind of walk around and just kind of go like, doo, 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 doo.
But in
rock
addition,
rock and roll. Oh,
in,
rah, rah, rah.
in addition to that, what I was more trying to get at was like when you're in a band that's writing original music, but you're the singer singing someone else's lyrics.
Yeah.
It's like you're
Yes.
it's like you're in a cover band that you're of your music. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, like, as the lead singer, I wonder what that does. Like, do you know if he has any side projects? I was like, because I wonder if that scratches the creative itch enough
I'm sure.
as a singer.
I think so. I'm assuming that he must have some kind of other projects in the mix or something like that because
Sure, yeah.
because this seems like this band was I can't pronounce his name probably correctly, but Hawk, Haake,
Yeah.
Hake or whatever, the drummer, which obviously seems like I want people that's gonna match my crazy fucking time
Wait, how do you
signatures.
spell his name?
Haake.
Who's you? It'd be Hack.
Take it easy. Don't start with that. But his influences, you'll love this, you little queer. He cited musicians from heavy metal to jazz fusion
Woo!
and progressive rock as
Woo!
influences. He cites English bands such as Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, American bands such as Metallica,
Oh.
Slayer,
Oh.
Megadeth,
Oh. So the
yeah,
five
yeah.
biggest bands in
Anthrax, Testament, Metal Church,
You listen to Metallica?
and Rush, which makes a lot of sense as a drummer, obviously.
Yeah. Well, also to a lot of those drummers in very technical bands like this, I'm not just gonna say drummers. Probably any musician in these very technical bands, it's safe to assume that their music taste is like incredibly eclectic because those dudes, like that's why the Slayer versus Guns N' Roses episode was so fucking funny.
so funny.
Because I knew Slayer was just going to be a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Because the better you are at playing and the more complicated it is, you're all just going to be a bunch of fucking nerds. It's like when I remember going to Warped Tour. And you'd see whatever emo or punk band, and they're wearing their cool outfit, and then you go and you watch Protest the Hero, which is, in my opinion, one of the great, like they're one of the best bands ever. Vocalist is one of the best metal vocalists ever, and he's in like, dude, I know for a fact he was wearing cargo shorts, and he was probably in flip flops.
Yeah,
because they're nerds. They're like, I'm just gonna do good. I don't need to look cool.
Yeah, I don't care. It's about the substance. And it's like, well, yeah, it is, but
I'm not gonna put flip flops on him, but his vibe, flip flops would have made sense.
The people you're catering to don't have all the money. Just a heads up. Just
well, it goes back.
You're catering to us. We can't afford to support you, unfortunately. But like, if you want to do what the record companies want, they're going to be able to pay your bills, unfortunately.
But yeah,
I know that we say we pay you your salary, but we don't. We don't
do it unless I'm yelling at.
Is your salary $26 every 3 years?
Who are you yelling at?
I don't know why
That's so funny. No, unless you're.
First of all, the funniest part is the fact that me considering a ticket price still being $26.
Well,
Come on. I mean, in this day and age.
I mean, if I'm gonna get literal and not go with the joke, no, for real though, how much of that's even going to the band?
0.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't even support that much.
26 might be what's going to the band.
Also, maybe $26 of T-shirt money that I get. If whatever, you don't have to pay Chime. For the.
Yeah, I forget. Do you like Harm's Way?
Yeah, they're all right.
I might go see them at the end of the month.
I'll probably go if you.
Yeah, they're at Empire.
If you're asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would just be a fun.
It's just me. No, I'm just gonna go. If you want
Oh,
to,
no, I'm just
if you
letting
want to
you
watch
know.
me go,
No, just stay away.
yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna see how much it is. I might go because Harm's Way fucking rips.
So this is gonna kind of go to the what was said in the last one, right? So like, about like, I think we talk about this a lot, like, with fast food restaurants for sure. Just be who you are.
I don't think we talk about that often.
just be the thing that you're really good at. Like if you're an awesome drummer, it doesn't mean
That's
that, like,
literally everything in life.
Every once in a while, you have to go up and play guitar just because you like wrote the song in guitar, or you could do vocals or whatever. So this one is called. The song is "The Exquisite Machinery of Torture." The Chaosphere.
Chaosphere!
It's the title. The title is longer than the damn song, man.
Dude, the nerve of you to go, oh, you think this is all I have? Yes.
It
clearly is.
The only thing I liked about this was the chorus, the literal idea, and the literal idea of the title. Like that actually, the exquisite machinery of torture sounds like a really cool like weapon in D&D. Like I really do actually like that, but the,
like
the
if you
song itself fucking sucks.
Or if you were
dick.
playing like a open world game like The Witcher 3,
Yeah.
and you open up a chest and the exquisite machinery of torture popped up, you'd be like, whoa, I'm not at that level, but I'll hold on to this until I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that. So this is funny. The chorus is actually pretty sick, and really all he actually I think says is the exquisite machinery of torture. But it reminds me kind of not fully, like not enough to even like notate it, but but it reminds me a lot of what's the band Du Hast
Rammstein.
kind of reminds me of that. Like that's like the chugginess of it,
Yeah.
like the marchiness. But I absolutely hated the whisper scream. It's a thing he does like the most of the verse.
Yeah.
So he's just like, this will be the.
Oh,
And you know who it is?
Who?
It's the fucking drummer. I looked through his notes. Some of the tracks that he does, it actually says this too. This is fucking crazy to me.
That's funny.
So he goes, the exquisite machinery of torture on Chaosphere, spasm and nothing else. Hold on. It actually says what he does. Contributes to vocals on several songs, Choirs of Devastation on the album, blah, 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 blah. Inside Suffer, the exquisite machinery of torture. Hack provides spoken vocals on Meshuggah's guitarist's solo album, but like his solo spoken, that's what he's doing on the song, and he's just going like, man, he's talking in a kind of a creepy voice, and it sounds awful and cartoonish.
Can I tell you what I hate the most in like metal or heavy? They do it the most in metal. Extreme metal, black metal, and like deathcore.
What about groove metal?
They do it in groove metal. Deathcore gets a little bit of a pass.
They're doing it right in groove metal.
They're doing it right in front of us in groove metal. Deathcore gets a little bit of a pass because it's like more of the screaming. But like in any of these heavy genres like this that aren't like hardcore, the intentional spooky voice drives me up a fucking wall. I go, brother, I'm not a fucking goth chick watching The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm a boy.
Yeah.
And I want to hear an angry man yell. I don't want to hear whatever monster is in the song is about sing this song.
There's a time and a place for sure. Like one of his influences is Iron Maiden, and they do that in I think it's.
Oh yeah, don't they have like the devil talking?
No, there's a thing where
Number
he's
of the Beast.
A Number of the Beast, I think maybe is there. There's one where he's just like, take him to the gallows, like, but they're like, boom, boom, boom,
I'm not super familiar with Iron Maiden.
It just sounds very like regal and like castle-y, like it sounds like medieval, like, but they're building this whole fucking story and the structure and shit like that. This is like a 3-minute song or like a 6-minute song, you think? 3-minute song? I don't know.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I looked up Iron Maiden and it literally, whoever their singer is, looks like he's the dude from Thursday.
Yeah. He's a pilot too, you know that?
The lead singer of Iron Maiden?
Yep.
He's a gay pilot?
Yeah. He does usually dress like the Crocodile Hunter, which is fucking hilarious, but...
like, why are you dressed like a Navy captain?
Last song on the album, number 8 here. is called Elastic, and I just put same, brother. Same. It gets real jazzy and kind
What,
of
your pants?
yeah. Yeah. Living that elastic lifestyle, brother. It gets real jazzy, kind of disjointed early on. But that's that like so this is really funny. I'm like taking these notes as I'm listening to the song. And this is so funny. So it gets really disjointed, and I timestamp it at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And then it's a 16-minute song.
Oof.
Right? So I was like, I'm fearing that this is gonna go into like this is either secret track level or just gonna be noise and feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what you're doing is it gets up to it's got its ups and downs. Like it kind of like throughout, it's just kind of like a struggle to listen to in general.
Yeah.
And I like it makes me want to stop listening to it. Like when the bad parts come up. So, and then again, around 4:50. So, by the way, that's been only 1 minute and 20 seconds. I'm coming up with this thought of like, this is like torture. This has got its ups and downs, but I mean, it's pretty hard to listen to.
Also, too, a lot of genres like this are kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
So to like put you through like 60 minutes of that is brutal.
So, around 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Again, I had, and by the way, it's having a physical effect on me. And I said, they may not be a band. They may be a weapon.
Wait, what was the song called?
They may be a band of
They may be a
exquisite
weapon of exquisite
torture. Machinery of exquisite torture. But like
that 16-minute song sounds brutal.
But like so I did not finish the song because I actually fast forwarded just like a little bit.
It's not on you, brother.
It did one of the. It was just going like it's just noises and like disjointed. It sounded like noise torture.
Yeah,
like if you had just like put it on with 2 headphones and listened to that entire track, by the end of it, you might have been reprogrammed.
All of that goes back to and I'm not anti Andy Kaufman. I think the wrestling was brilliant. I appreciate what he's done for comedy and yada yada yada. But like one of my biggest beefs with Andy Kaufman is all of his shit just sounds funny on paper.
Yeah,
it's funny to tell someone about it. But if you're the guy who fucking got a sitter and paid for a ticket and paid for parking and you show up and he just starts yelling at you and then fucking starts reading Pride and Prejudice, you'd be like, and then like afterwards to find out like that was the joke, you'd be like, okay, cool. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Because like that's not, there's a lot of comedy in general that is like, it's not hard to do. It's just no one would do that, so it's kind of funny thinking they would do that.
It's not that nobody thought of it. Nobody thought it would be funny, and then you doing it is. It's even still funny. It's proving
kind of funny because you're like, seriously, he did that?
Kind of the commitment is the funny thing. If you go up and you do that every time, people will kill you.
Yeah. And so to bring it back to Meshuggah, it feels the same way with putting this noise.
Yeah.
I go, did you sit through that whole part every time and go, yes, this is the right amount? Or did you go, we're going to do a sensory experiment where we affect their blah, blah, blah. So make sure it's like 8 minutes of that. And you're like, well, if that's how you're making the song,
just stop right
just
there.
Don't do that.
Yeah, just make it a 7-song album.
Yeah, you could just make the song shorter.
But I would say it was all right. Not my favorite, but from Meshuggah. But I didn't hate it until that last. Literally, I hated that last song.
Yeah.
But it's so funny that 2 different eras, like they at the end of it, it's like their that's like their Nick Fury moment after credits scene was like the fact that they can actually physically affect me didn't come up until the last song on the album.
Yeah.
And like that's what they end up doing. So like their timing's obviously very interesting. They're a very interesting band in general, but like it's so cool to find that these 2 bands, not just the fact that the albums were from the same time, but these 2 bands are from the exact same town in Sweden, and how different like they are musically.
And I will say too, the Meshuggah album's less sort of like mind blowing.
Yeah.
But I will say these are 2 albums that you just go, if someone hit you with them randomly, I don't know how much everyone would be able to go, oh, 98.
Yeah.
They're 2 albums, but I'm not going to say Meshuggah's album's timeless the way Refused is, but it's 2 albums that don't necessarily sit firmly in a year.
Yeah, this could have been put out this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like very easily. So it's really cool. So hey, we came prepared this time.
Oh yeah.
We actually know I was about to ask you what do you want to talk about next week, but we already know.
Mm-hmm.
We figured it out, and it's going to be something that I'm obviously very interested in on both sides. We chose the 2 albums that we chose. Where do you want to tell them?
I'm gonna do Answer That and Stay Fashionable
By AFI.
AFI.
It's their first album.
Their very first album, and Pat is gonna do
Stranger Than Fiction.
By Bad Religion.
Wait, I was like, I wrote it down and everything.
We're kind of like giving crazy eye contact without any sort of plan. Yeah, I wanted to do this was kind of my thing because I really wanted to. I had a realization a year or two ago when I was at my job in New Jersey, and I was listening to a bunch of. I randomly was just like, I'm gonna listen to old AFI.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. Old AFI is spooky Bad Religion. They have a lot of very similar tendencies in their songwriting, and like they just felt so polar opposite, but at the same time, AFI, they were one of those. They had a very unique thing like Alkaline Trio, and it's why neither of those bands got the emo label because they were like much more dark and spooky and gothy emotional bands. But they were still a band that, like, if you were into punk, if you're into punk rock and you like Hawthorne Heights, you're going to keep that a secret back then. But if you're into, like, fucking hard punk music and you like AFI, you're still going to let everyone know. And I always thought that was such an interesting dynamic of AFI. And, I always forget how hard their old music was. And then, and then also Bad Religion just fucking rips.
Yeah. You ain't got to give me an excuse. Those some bitches. I'll tell you what.
Oh, by the way, before we get out of here, one more thing about... No, keep doing that. One more thing I actually... Slightly about Refused. Oh, yeah. There was... I was looking up a bunch of stuff on Reddit about Refused, and this guy had this long post about, like, all right, young people, this is why Refuse is a big deal. And the one thing he pointed out that I thought was really funny, he said it was very powerful for a punk band to never do the forbidden beat, which I'm not 100% sure what it is.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where I'm assuming it's like that. I'm assuming it's the drum beat going like do-da, 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 something like that in punk rock.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was trying to look it up. YouTube showed me a bunch of videos of drummers in the middle of playing jazz music. They're just like, and then in the middle of it, they just play the Pornhub beat. And I'm like, hilarious, but I'd actually like to find out what they fucking meant. And then I stumbled across a book about punk drumming called The Forbidden Beat. So I ordered it, and I was like, maybe I'll get the answer in there. But yeah, because of Refused, I now ordered a very cool book.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, like, so I read it.
No, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to learn what the forbidden beat is.
Next week, we're going to find out for sure, because Andy will have read the whole book by then.
Well, and to bring it all together, Bad Religion has a song called Forbidden Beat.